Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode, and I'm absolutely thrilled today to have back Sam Silverstein and Tara Stone with me. Guys, welcome to the pod.
Hey, it's great to be here.
So, Sam, I'm going to ask you to introduce Tara to our audience. She's not been on one of our podcasts before.
I know, and it's been about time. It's great to have Tara here. Tara's our Director of Client Success. And actually, Tara, in essence, runs what goes on at the Accountability Institute. So Tara gets involved not only in constructing content and creating systems for clients to be successful, but she makes sure that our message is congruent across all channels. And as Director of Client Success, make sure that the clients that we work with achieve the success and the goals that we've all agreed on at the beginning of any relationship.
Tara, could you tell us a little bit about your professional background and your journey to the Accountability Institute?
Absolutely. Entrepreneur from the moment I came out of the womb, most likely. Started off selling golf balls back to the golfers when we lived on a golf course. My brother and I would go and find them in the woods and clean them all up. And I remember loving when one specific lady came by because she always bought all of the pink golf balls. And I think we were going for about 25 cents a piece at the time. So we were really rolling in it when we made $4 or $5 in the day. Continued my journey. I've started multiple businesses from the real estate realm to a vegan plant-based cafe. Always found myself in positions of leadership, which I loved and adored, and really loved helping people from a very young age, and sold real estate actively for about 25 years, and realized that there was something beyond helping people buy and sell homes as I was working in mentorship with agents, and then started coaching agents to more of a business capacity. That opened up the realm of coaching, and really never looked back from there. Stepped outside of the real estate industry for coaching and was always looking at reinvesting in myself. My rule is 10% a year in whatever you are wanting to earn is what you should be reinvesting in your personal growth. Went through some different certifications, connected with people I really respected and trusted, and would find out what they were doing and what a fellow coach had gone into the Accountability Institute. And I said, Accountability Institute, what the heck is that? And ended up on a phone call with Sam. And that really started my journey down the road of accountability and a whole new mindset around it. And my connection with Sam, which now, about 2 years later, we have really built into a fantastic personal and working relationship where I think we're both able to take what we're passionate about and a legacy that we want to leave and build on it together. And now I work in any industry, and Sam and I are popping around the country spreading our message of culture and accountability and helping people through struggle, which is, I believe, really a gift. The only way there's true growth is through struggle. So we get to come alongside our clients in that. And that's what I call coach fuel, keeps me going every single day.
So, what are your specific roles other than everything in the Accountability Institute?
They're growing every single day. Sam and I had the fortunate position to be coming from just a really great place of trust with each other and figuring out the path. So, started with director of client success as we're looking at identifying potential past clients that we can offer a next level of service to, collaborating together on what we might be offering. I do a lot of work also inside with our clients as far as the DISC assessment is a tool that we use with a lot of our clients. So I will do the assessment, I will do validation sessions, I do one-on-one coaching as well as deliver group development, leadership development and education with Sam. And now Sam and I are doing a little more travel together with his keynote speaking, and I get to be in the audience having great conversations and just really building the relationship. So I would say in a nutshell, a relationship builder within the company and also delivering our content and helping get really prescriptive on how we can help our clients at the highest level, what they need. And we're not a cookie cutter, one box, one size fits all program. Like we customize for everyone. And that's what Sam and I get to do together.
So Sam and I have known each other, I would say, certainly pre-pandemic when we met. I want to say maybe 2018, maybe 2019, maybe 2017, somewhere in that range. And I've had the opportunity, I met him through a speech he gave to the ECI, the Ethics Consortium Institute, and or Ethics and Compliance Institute, I should say. And since that time, I have been privileged to work with him in terms of podcasting, webinars, and some other initiatives to help try to get the word out about the Accountability Institute and what it can bring to an organization. But I wanted to ask you, when you're asked, what is the Accountability Institute and what would it bring to an organization? What do you say, Tara?
I say it brings communication and a foundation that everyone should be rewinding back to, no matter what you're working on in your organization. And even outside of organizations, really, this is also a very personal conversation, a lot of the work that we do. Because in order to have successful organizations, you have to have people and you have to have relationships. And Sam will say it all the time, when there's people involved, it is always personal. So what we do is we help companies really identify what their core values are and then how to empower their people to make decisions through those core values, which ultimately creates a great space for communication, gets rid of siloing, allows leaders to focus on their roles and also develop the people around them, and we get rid of a lot of the band-aids, right? There's band-aids everywhere. So we're like, rip off the band-aids, rewind all the way back to what all of this is based on, which is a true thriving culture that inspires accountability.
Sam, let me transition over to you and ask you, what has Tara brought to you in the Accountability Institute? Any new initiatives or expansion of initiatives that you've been able to engage in since she's come on board full time?
Absolutely. So we've been working with clients on a global basis for some time, helping them build these high performance, sustainable workplace culture, one that's going to prioritize and support accountability. What we really needed was to be able to go even deeper and to be able to broaden our wings. So Tara brings the ability to take the conversation deeper in the sense of communication style, behavior style, and look at the deep causes and roots of where people are coming from. We know that when relationship is strong within an organization, that accountability will be strong. If relationships are not mastered by an organization, they're going to struggle with accountability in a lot of other areas. And Tara is just a master of understanding what's at the root of a great relationship and being able to put that in place. But on a larger picture, Tara really runs what goes on with our clients. And so whether Tara is working with a client or helping to deliver what needs to be delivered for that client, or whether she's overseeing and someone else is possibly delivering services to a client, Tara understands each client at a very deep level and knows what it takes to help them be successful. And her unique ability to connect with people helps her gain the trust of leaders, which is really important because when we have leadership, senior leadership on board, that ensures the success of what we're trying to do with our clients through our Fractional Chief Culture Officer program.
So tell us a little bit more. You and I have had the opportunity to visit in detail on the Chief Culture Officer and the Fractional Chief Culture Officer. But could you maybe go into a little more detail as you have been able to expand that service offering from the Accountability Institute, Sam?
Yes, here's what we know. We know that culture is critical to an organization if they're going to achieve at their absolute best. Organizations with a weak culture or a poor culture can make money. But if they want to actually achieve at their highest level, if they want to always be positioned to attract the best people and retain the best people, which is always going to give a competitive advantage, then it's going to go through culture. Now, the challenge is that leaders are busy. They have a lot of things on their plate. And so we created the Fractional Chief Culture Officer program, and it can be full time if necessary. But we created this to be able to take the burden off the leaders' shoulders so they can focus on the dynamics of making sure their business is being successful. And we help them step through what needs to be done with respect to building this high performance, sustainable workplace culture. So we bring the expertise to the table, and it's, I guess, the best way to put it is a done with you. The people within the organization must step through the processes, but we guide them, we lead them, we know what works. And so, from the very foundational steps of defining what that culture is going to look like, to being able to establish it within the leadership, senior leadership, to being able to disseminate it throughout the organization. We know exactly step by step what needs to be done. And we have a way to measure our success through our culture audit. So we can see the success that's being achieved. It's measurable, it can be attached straight to the bottom line. And Tara and I oversee making sure that entire process rolls out successfully.
Tara, let me ask you a question based on your professional background, and that's in your real estate sales.
Mhm.
I've known a fair number of real estate salespersons, and some of the very best are not simply passionate about selling homes or helping put homes with homeowners, but they're great communicators. What I wanted to ask you is what skills did you learn or synthesize as a real estate salesperson that you're able to bring to the CCO, excuse me, CCC position or into directly into the Accountability Institute?
Listening, asking questions, and then zipping your mouth and listening, which can be a challenge for some personality styles, specifically mine. Asking really powerful questions, I think, was something that I developed in my real estate career because I moved from just selling houses to developing teams, starting brokerages, and whether I was working with an agent or a client, being able to ask powerful questions and then really listen to what the client, the agent had to say, and then working from there, I think was the number one skill that I bring into everything that I do. And certainly that's something that we do here in the institute. So being able to ask powerful questions, listen to what people are saying and what they really want. And often our clients are not clear on what they want, whether that's what kind of house they want or what they want their organization to look like. They have enough information, right? The clients have Zillow and all those other things out there. They can keep going and getting information. Our clients are putting training on top of training on top of training on top of audiobooks on top of conversations. We have enough information, but what we don't have enough of is the real conversations around getting clarity on exactly what it is that you want, and not just goals. These are feelings. How do you want to feel when you go into work every day? How do you want to feel when you're thinking about your company, your team, your people? We really, this is so far beyond training. And in the real estate sector, there's a lot of training. There's a lot of training everywhere, but this is really about development. I think learning that difference, the difference between mentoring and coaching or consulting, very different things. Difference between training and development, very different things. So I think I bring the listening skills and the ability to help people identify what it is they want. And then we come together on a strategic plan about how to actually put that in measurable action and then stay alongside them. And that's where that accountability conversation, when everyone wants to say, I want to hold them accountable, or clients say, I want you to hold me accountable. No, that's not what we do. We're gonna hold you capable because we believe in you. We know you can do this. We know we have a successful proven plan. We're going to be alongside you to help you achieve what it is, but you're going to stay at cause and responsible for what it is that you are going after.
Tara, a lot of coaches, literature, and training teaches us to listen,
Mhm.
but not as much training, coaches, or other teaches us how to ask questions. and how to ask great questions. How did you develop the skill of asking questions, and how do you help train people on that skill as opposed to listening?
Yeah. I think it was born out of pure frustration. Knowing that I could help someone more, or coming out of meetings where people were like, "Oh, Tara's really smart," or "She has a lot of great ideas," but then they weren't taking action. And I realized I wasn't really listening or asking questions. I wasn't listening to understand. I was listening to respond. And one of the biggest skills I learned, and this is comes from my child, is I'm very solutions oriented. And through understanding behavioral styles, there's a lot of people that just go right to solutions. What's the problem? What's the solution? So as soon as someone would pose a concern or a problem to me, I would half listen, but start thinking about what are all these amazing solutions I'm going to tell them to do. And my son said to me, "Mom, sometimes I just need you to listen and I don't need you to fix it. And I just need a hug." And I was like, It's nothing like a child, your child, to stop you dead in your tracks for something that you've been doing." So, what I learned from there is that when he or anyone comes to me with a challenge, I will ask, "Hey, do you want me just to hear you, or do you actually want me to help you come up with a solution to fix this?" And then I listen to what they say. And if no, I need help with a solution, great. I let my brain go where it needs to go, where it wants to go. If they're like, "I just really want to be heard," I let that part of my brain relax and I get to just be present and listen to that person and hear them. So, learning that, one, what does this person want? And then two, people really feel like they don't know. One of my favorite questions is when someone says, "I don't know," I say, "Okay, I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would it be?" And it sounds like such a funny question, and but it actually gets people out of that cycle of "I don't know, I don't know." I have a list of powerful questions. It was born from frustration, from feeling like I wasn't able to actually help people. I would get them to a point and we had a good relationship, but I wasn't seeing them move forward. So just knowing that was my responsibility to be able to dig deeper. And I would say make it weird. I'm like Austin, Texas. I'm gonna keep asking 2 or 3 more questions to the point where it makes it a little bit weird, but it actually gets people moving.
It's funny. I went to college in Austin in the 70s, and back then they said keep Austin weird. I can hardly imagine in 2025 what that means. Sam, we have had the opportunity to visit about the importance of culture, the importance of accountability in 2025 in the business environment that we're currently facing. And leaving political issues aside, how do you help a company really sustain itself in an era where markets may be dropping? We may have, if you're subject to import export, you may be subject to tariffs that are put in place and withdrawn almost immediately. It's more difficult to plan a long term business strategy and execute it because of the changing environment, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's climate, whether it's the stock market, whether it's financing. How can you help a company really have a core that will allow them to move forward in this really unprecedented series of business changes we're facing?
Well, Tom, that's a great question. And I'll tell you why. Because there are so many unknowns right now. And in times of unknown and uncertainty, the most important thing is what is known and what is certain. So we either focus on the things we cannot control or we can focus on the things that we can control. And the one thing that a leader can control in an organization is the culture, is how people are treated, is the environment that creates a place where people feel valued, important, that they are heard, that they contribute. Because when people feel that way, then they're naturally going to come to the table with ideas and ways of addressing situations. You want to promote creativity in your team. You want to promote the innovation that it takes to be successful in uncertain times. It's critical to create an environment where people feel heard because you have all these brains that are in the organization. Why not tap into them? So, first of all, the best time to start working on your culture, to get your culture where it needs to be, that was 20 years ago. The next best time, right now, today, here, now. And that's the certainty that you can create. When I know, Tom, that you've got my back, when I know that you appreciate what I'm contributing to the table, when I know that you hear me, when I know that I have a voice, then I'm going to step up. And when I know that you would never let me down, I'm never going to want to let you down. That's what a leader can control in an organization. You can't control what's going on in government. You can't control what laws are coming into place. You can't control what your competition is doing. But when you create a workplace culture that is so powerful that you are attracting the best people and keeping those people, then you will build a successful organization even in uncertain times.
Jared, I'd like to pick up on another point you raised, which frankly I don't think anyone talk about exactly the way you did, which was essentially self development or self improvement or investing in yourself. Many of the listeners to this podcast are corporate compliance officers, and one of the requirements I say for a successful compliance officer is curiosity,
Mm.
to always be curious to learn. But you've taken that a step further when you say invest in yourself. Could you expand on that? And what does a 10% investment mean? And how might you suggest someone who wants to be a leader, who may be in a corporation but not the head of a department, get the skills to maybe step up to that executive leadership position?
Yeah. Sam and I and Renee were just having a fantastic conversation about leadership. And I believe everyone is a leader, whether you use it for good influence and impact or not. First of all, if you're having this thought in your mind, you are a leader. My rule of thumb is not what you are making every year, what you want to make. Now, I understand that there's some economic restrictions here, but if let's say $100,000, someone says, I want to make $100,000, 10% of that, $10,000. So, where are you investing that 10%? It could be courses, it could be conferences. It needs to be where you are getting yourself in and around other people that are either same level as you or have done what you want to do before, but getting in those rooms, getting to those tables. And it can be a really foreign concept to think about spending a few $1,000s on a course or a conference, or 10 or $15,000 on investing in yourself. I admittedly did not go to college. I went to some community college, but I have invested close to $200,000 in my certifications, in my conferences, in my continuing ed. So to me, that is my college. And that is every year non negotiable because we are always learning, we are always growing. So, looking at planning it out, where is the money going to come from? Maybe you have to get a loan. I'm not suggesting people put things on credit cards, but where there's a will, there's a way. And if you know there's something more for you, and you are exploring that, one step leads to the next step. I started off with John Maxwell certification. It was really interesting to me. And I think that John was in a different era where we're really switching from management to leadership. And doors continue to open. Keep raising your hand. Keep saying yes. When someone invites you to do something, to go to a podcast, to come check out something else that's interesting, I just kept saying yes and I kept showing up and I would just figure it out along the way. So you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. And we all know about the comfort zone, and everything that we want is outside the comfort zone. So you got to be willing to get uncomfortable, and you have to be willing to fail forward and get a network of people around you that are going to push you because they're also pushing themselves. So being very specific about what you're going to do, how much money you're going to invest in yourself, and just explore and experiment what's interesting to you.
So my daughter
Tom, I
is
want to add
27.
something.
Oh,
Tom,
go
I want
ahead.
to add something to that. And true leaders don't just look to invest in themselves for their personal growth. A true leader is always looking how to take what they have learned, where they have grown, and make a difference in the lives of other people. And that's true leadership when you've accepted the responsibility and the safety for those people around you, whether you have a title or whether you don't have a title. And so if we go to a conference and come back and just use whatever we learned for ourselves, that's okay. But if we go to a conference or have a learning experience and we come back and we're looking for ways to apply that to help other people achieve their goals, to grow, to be better at what they're doing. That's when a true leader is maximizing the return on investment because it's not just about them. They're always looking for ways to apply it to other people.
And it does start with me and then goes to we. And I find that there's a lot of imposter syndrome that people, they want to step into a leadership role, they want to lead people, they want to coach, consult, whatever it might be, but there's a lot of imposter syndrome. So sometimes just taking that first step for some type of validation, a credential, even if you don't believe in yourself 100%, just getting that title behind you, that credential behind you will then give you that confidence to start having that conversation so you can do exactly what Sam just said. Start applying it and then you see people's lives start to change and you get a little positive feedback and then you skyrocket from there, but you've got to take the first steps.
Tara, is there a point in someone's career they can begin this? Or do you need to have technical proficiency in whatever it is you do mastered first before you move to these higher level skills?
I don't You could start in elementary school. There's a very difference between technical and mastery of a certain field versus development, how you communicate with people, because that extends everywhere. So if you are developing yourself and understanding how people communicate and how you communicate, if you understand different ways of delineating information, if you understand how to build rapport with someone, doesn't matter what industry, it doesn't, you could be talking about your dating life, it really, this is development as a holistic process, not necessarily just a professional development, holistically developing who you are as a human being in this world, which has an impact on your home life, your personal life, your professional life, and your ability to grow and lead.
Well, guys, unfortunately, we are near the end of our time for this episode. Sam, why don't you tell us if our listeners want more information on the Chief Culture position, the Chief Culture Officer, the Fractional Chief Culture Officer, the Accountability Institute, or any of the other topics we've touched on today? What would be the best place or places for them to go?
It's real simple. They can go to theaccountabilityinstitute.com and you can learn all about the Fractional Chief Culture Officer program. You can learn about whether it's for your organization or if you're a consultant and coach, how to get involved in delivering and sharing this content with other organizations or bringing it in house. And you can also go to samsilverstein.com. The two sites are interwoven. And we'd love to connect and be able to share a message with you that can impact your organization.
Tara, can I ask you if any of our listeners wanted to connect with you, what might be the best social media platform for them to do that with?
Absolutely. All of my social media channels are public. So Tara Stone was taken. So I'm the Tara Stone. So if you go to Instagram or Facebook, you would find me there. But the easiest way to connect with me is Tara at samsilverstein.com. I check my messages often throughout the day. And really just jumping on a quick call together is one of my favorite things to do. So socials or hit me up directly on email.
Are you on LinkedIn
Yes, I am.
under Tara Stone?
Yes, sir.
Great.
The
The Not on
I think
LinkedIn.
I'm Tara. I was able to get Tara Stone there.
Guys, that's about the fastest 30 minutes I've had in a long time. I wanted to thank you all, and I hope we can continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Until next time.